When you're asked to revisit where you've been, you reconsider where you're at. You assess where you're at. And that is a butchered quote, but from Brad Herzog, who is an author and an RV blogger for GoRVing.org. And we've got him on today's show. We are super excited. But you know what, Andy? You're over there. It's Nacho Average Day. This is RVNN-Live, brought to you in part by PetHub and GoToMeeting.
Today's program brought to you by PetHub. Protect your pet for pennies a day with critical contact, medical, and dietary information on a smartphone scannable ID tag. And by GoToMeeting, affordable online meetings that work so you can do more and travel less.
Hey everyone, it's Courtney Wallen here at RVNN TV. We've got a great show in store today. I'm joined, of course, by Andy McCaskey.
You had to work that in.
I did.
I knew you were going to. You threatened early in the morning, and I wasn't paying attention. Explain, please.
I follow through on my promises today, and I don't know if even Brad knows this, but today is National Tortilla Chip Day, and I said in one of my posts today that I don't need a national holiday for tortilla chips because every day is National Tortilla Chip in my house.
Day.
Yeah. So I don't know about you guys out there, but I love tortilla chips. But I'm also really excited about our guest today, and that is Brad Herzog. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
It's my pleasure. I'm great. How are you?
Doing well. And Brad, you've got a lot of accomplishments that you have accomplished, accomplishments you've accomplished in a very short time here. You've been an author for quite a while, but people may know you from your books, but may know you for some other couple other ways. But let's go ahead and talk about the beginning, where you started as an author, and some of the books that really launched your career.
Well, you know, I have a kind of a multifaceted writing career. I write lots of magazine articles. That's really actually I started as a newspaper sports writer for a couple of years, and then I started writing lots of magazine articles. I also write a whole bunch of children's books, and my website is bradherzog.com. It's all on there. But I also write travel memoirs, and my first one, they're American travel memoirs, and my first one really started about in 1995 or so, when my wife and I were living in Chicago, and it was the dead of winter, like right about this time of year, and they were actually having a winter there at that time. And I turned to her one day and I said, "How would you like to quit your job?" We had been married a couple of years at that point. I said, "How would you like to quit your job, and we'll let our apartment lease run out. We'll buy a big old RV and we'll travel around the country for a year, and I'll try to write a book about it." And to my surprise, she turned to me and she said, "Sure."
That's awesome.
And that's really how it began.
That's support right there, because I am trying to do the same thing, and you know the only person that's keeping back is my boss.
Yeah. She just wants 2 years off in order to do this, and she says, "Oh no, I'll be working the whole time." We'll see.
So Brad, maybe you can help me out in my cause here, that it's a good thing. And I have to bring up something that maybe you want to or you don't want to talk about, but you are an author, you stay at home, and you made your break time pretty effective, and it turned into something pretty huge for you.
Yeah, so we took that first trip for a year, and I did write a book about that experience. What I wrote about were these 18 tiny little towns that we visited along the way, named after virtues. So I was sort of searching for virtue in modern America, and I turned that figurative search into a literal search. So we were searching for honor in Honor, Michigan, and Hope in Hope, Mississippi, and Love in Love, Virginia, and Wisdom in Wisdom, Montana. 18 tiny little towns, the tiniest dots on the map. And the book, I wrote the book. I had a tough time finding a publisher. Finally found a little publisher in North Carolina. And for about 10 months, it didn't sell all that well because it was hard to find. And then at the peak of the phenomenon of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, I'm self-employed. I would call once a day for about a week and try out for the show with this 1-800 number that they flashed on the screen. And one thing led to another. I ended up being a contestant on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, really at the real peak of the phenomenon, when there were 25 million people watching it every time it was on. And
there you are.
I won. There I am. Yeah, a little more hair, but not much. And I won $64,000 on the show, which was great. Although I tend to look at the glass as half empty on that one. But I also talked about my book for about 30 seconds with Regis Philbin. And within 24 hours, it was the 7th best-selling book on Amazon.com, and then it became a whole publicity push from there. I was in People magazine and Time magazine and the Oprah Winfrey Show and the Today Show, and it was a crazy month. It was a lot of fun, but really I was so happy because people were reading this book that I was very proud of, and this experience that really changed my wife Amy, our lives, because we fell in love with the RV experience along the way. So I was thrilled that it happened. It was kind of a weird way for it to happen, but I was thrilled that it happened.
Absolutely. It's just a great story, and you kind of joked with Matt Lauer in that interview that, you know, I had tried to approach you guys with this idea and didn't hear back. Then you got on because of that. So I'm really excited to read that book. States of Wonder, or States of Mind, is that book in particular. And right. You've got a new book out. It's actually the one that I've been reading, and Andy's got it up here.
I'm
and
handing it over to you.
We're handing it to each other because we're only feet away. This is Turn Left at the Trojan Horse, and let's talk about this book too. This was written in 2010.
Yeah, well, it was published in 2010. Okay. What I do in my books, and the RV experience really crystallizes for me, is I examine the big picture by traveling through some of the tiniest dots on the map. I have a theory about America, how our self-descriptions are kind of off. We sometimes call ourselves a melting pot, but that implies sort of an evaporation of flavors. It doesn't make sense to me. We call ourselves a patchwork quilt, but that doesn't take into account each little thread that's important. In my opinion, the best way to describe America is to call ourselves a dot painting, a masterpiece of pointillism. And when you look at a dot painting from far away, all the little dots sort of blend together to form an image. But if you look at each dot closely, each one has its own color, its own story, its own tale to tell. And I feel that way about the tiniest dots on the map. So that's what I do in my my trilogy of travel memoirs, American travel memoirs, is craft an itinerary that develop a theme, an overarching concept that I would like to explore, and then I craft an itinerary of towns that the names of the towns fit that theme. Mm-hmm. So in this latest book, Turn Left at the Trojan Horse, it's my sort of midlife crisis book where I'm wondering how heroic my life has been. I'm heading cross country to my college reunion in Ithaca, New York, and since the original hero's journey, the story of King Odysseus in the Odyssey, was him trying to get home to his island of Ithaca, I figured I'm going to sort of approximate that story. So I went through towns named after Greek mythology, searching for heroes along the way and trying to figure out what constitutes a heroic life. So it's very personal. It's also a lot about the people and the history and mythologies thrown in there. And I really try each town really serves as an allegory or an essay, its own standalone essay, and hopefully they form this grand epiphany by the end of the book.
Mm-hmm. It's just really interesting, and I might add that Brad, your books have me laughing out loud. You've got a real great sense of humor, and you know some of the. I have to go back here because I have to read something in the very first chapter that I highlighted that I said, Andy, you've got to read this. You're talking about how this is your midlife crisis book, and you said when midlife approaches you like a mugger in an alleyway, this is what you do, and I just had a good chuckle about that.
That's how it feels.
That's that sounds like somebody has been there and been there and done that, Brad. A question that I had, though, kind of looking at your story over the years, as you have focused on these small towns and everything that's happened to us collectively in the past 10 years, 11 years, do you see common threads, or do you see a change as you have made these two distinct journeys?
Well, I mean, it's been 3 journeys in all for me for my 3 books, and for me they've been in 3 different phases of my life. My first journey for my book, States of Mind, I was a newlywed, trying to figure out, what I wanted out of life, where we wanted to settle down. We took a 48-state journey that turned into a 48-state home search, and we ended up on the coast of California. We moved from Chicago to California. My second book, which is called Small World, I was a new father. And I was sort of wondering what kind of world am I bringing my kids into? So I traveled around little towns named after global cities like Moscow, Maine, and Jerusalem, Arkansas, and Calcutta, West Virginia. And then this last book, I'm in sort of entering midlife, stumbling toward middle age. I feel that the way we view our journey, our travels through America, is a big part of that is where we're at in our life at that time.
Yeah.
But every time I go out, I always find that there are amazing people out there, even in these tiny little dots where there might be 300 people in the whole town, or 17 people, or 1,000 people. They always have stories to tell. The stereotypes about small town America are usually unfair, and I think that I'm always amazed. I always am filled with wonder at the perseverance of people out there. So I think that hasn't changed. But again, it always depends on your state of mind as you're traveling through these places, which is what I love about the RV, because you're always in a pretty good state of mind.
Yeah, sure. Now, did you? So you've got kind of this uncertainty principle that you can't observe, because by the act of observing, you interact, and then that begins to change. Do you have a favorite, or something that was just you were so amazed to find a particular person with a particular skill or interest in an unlikely place? Do you have a favorite story there?
Well, I have a lot. I mean, I could go on and on, but I have, one element of what I do is I visit these sort of subcultures that I wouldn't otherwise have in a million years have visited had I not been making this purposeful journey to write this book. I went to Athens, New York, in my second book, Small World, and there was a nudist campground there, RV campground, and I spent the weekend there. So,
particularly popular in the summertime.
Yeah, but it's funny, some of the nicest people I've ever met in my life were there.
Oh, I'm sure.
And they were. There's nothing to hide, and everywhere I went on that trip, I tried to take a keepsake from the town with me, like a book of matches or a volunteer firefighter patch, something like that. Mm. And the keepsake that I took away from the nudist campground in Athens, New York, was poison ivy. So that was fun.
Very clever.
But I also went to. I spent my 34th birthday a few weeks later on that trip, and sleeping in my RV in the parking lot of a Hare Krishna compound. So that was totally unique and bizarre. But I've also met these people who are just simple but fascinating, friendly people. I always think of when Amy and I went on our first trip. We went to Love, Virginia, which is 85 people along the Blue Ridge Parkway. And we met a couple there, Billy and Lynn Coffey are their names, and they had built a log cabin themselves, and they were living the most simple life you could possibly imagine on this mountain in the Blue Ridge Parkway. And she had published a newsletter about all the people, the mountain people as she called them, in that area, and she was sort of doing what I do on a smaller scale, celebrating these lives and this culture of the people around her. And now she's written a couple books, and she asked me to write the foreword, and my wife and I versus Billy and Lynn Coffey are two extremely different people in so many ways, but we're friends, and that's because we just sort of encountered each other on one of these journeys, and we liked each other. And it doesn't matter how different you are, you can find some connection, and that's what I love about it.
Absolutely. And Brad, more recently in the last couple of years, which I would say is a direct product of all your books, is now you're writing a blog with your family. You've got 2 kiddos and your wife RVing and blogging about it at the gorving.org. If you go to /blog, you are there. That is you. You guys are blogging about your journeys and all of those things that you're encountering now as a complete family.
Yeah, I mean, we've done, after the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire nonsense, I got hired as a spokesperson by the RV Industry Association, and for 12 summers in a row, our whole family has taken an RV out for the whole summer, and we sort of pick a different section of the country every year. We do a media tour, and I plan this itinerary meticulously so that we can maximize the experience. We've seen, every state many times over, everything from Disneyland to Graceland and everything in between. And I write about it year round for Go RVing. It's GoRVing.com, I guess, is their site. and you can go to gorving.org/blog for my blog. But I just write about whatever thoughts enter into my head about throughout the year, and then during our summer journeys, I write about where we're going, where we, what we saw that day, and I try to extrapolate, lessons and deep thoughts regarding where we're going. So it's a lot of fun. I can write about, sometimes I do really quirky things, sometimes I write really profound things. There's about 9,000 people who have subscribed. You can subscribe to the blog. And actually what you're seeing right here is my son, Luke.
Yes.
My latest blog I wrote about, my son, who's 11 years old, actually just published his own book. He wrote a fantasy novel. It's 200 pages, 40,000 words. He's 11 years old. It's really, really good. And I sort of wrote about how one thing, he's inspired by a lot of things, especially the books he's read. But one of the things that really inspired him over the years is our summer travels, because that's where you're comfortable and you're inspired. It's a recipe for creativity. Mm-hmm. And I think he started writing his book on our 2010 trip. He wrote a big bulk of it on our 2011 trip. And I think when you're driving down the highway, that's sort of a metaphor for the possibilities out there, and your thoughts sort of expand to fill the landscape. I think that's what happened to my son Luke, and that's why he's a writer himself.
Yeah, that's a common theme that we have from our RVers. We have one of our show hosts has 2 teenagers, and they've been out for 4 years, and the opportunities that those kids have had to see the country and to put things into perspective and to build their flexibility and adaptability. It's just a wonderful thing.
It truly is. I feel like my kids, they don't remember some of the trips from when they were 4 and 5 years old, but you can't really unring a bell. And I think they're going to be more enlightened people as a result of our trips. And I think we're all more enlightened as a result of them. It's just it's education disguised as entertainment is the way I describe it.
Absolutely.
And that's fantastic.
And Brad, I'm just going to put this out here. If you guys need a babysitter, I'd be more than willing to come with you this summer. I'm looking at my schedule right now, and it looks pretty free. So call me.
Well,
let me know.
It turns out that this summer my kids are going to go to summer camp, where I went to summer camp for many years.
Cool.
My good friend owns the camp in Wisconsin. So it's going to be Amy and I alone on this summer's journey for the first time in about 12 years.
Well, that'll be nice.
It's going to be completely different. Yeah.
That'll be great. Well, we can't wait to hear about it. So please keep in touch, and you're always welcome here. And of course, let me put up your website here. If you go to bradherzog.com, you'll see the wider range of books that he has there, the children's books and his memoirs. So would you say that they should start with States of Mind? I kind of started backwards.
Yeah, you can go in order. First States of Mind, then Small World, then to the left of the Trojan Horse, or you can do it any order you want. They really stand alone. But I think, it's a great sort of way for people to travel vicariously. And also, one of the things I love is when I travel in an RV is reading travel books while I'm on the road. Mm-hmm. I'd highly recommend that.
Great. Well, Brad, thank you so much for joining us today. And I'm going to continue to live vicariously through your books until my boss lets me leave. So thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time today. And like I said, please keep in touch, all right?
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks very much, Brad.
Thanks, Brad. All right. Great book. I've been, trying to, I'll be the first to admit, I'm not the, I don't have, I shouldn't say I don't have time. I find it hard to have time to read. And so I've really been trying to get through this. And it's just, I'm not saying this because we had him on. It really is something you sit down and you don't want to put it down.
It's a fun read.
It's fun. It's interesting. And so I'm excited maybe this weekend I just will go under and read.
Yeah.
To be continued.
That could work. To be continued. So it's time for 30 seconds.
It is time for 30 seconds. And you know what, Andy? We talked today about how we felt actually a little bit more prepared than normal. So we'll see, knock on wood, how this goes. Of course, we are now on Pinterest, so please be sure to follow us on there. We've got lots of fun pin boards, and we want to hear your comments and contributions to that. Of course, Pinterest.com/RVNN. If you are not aware with Pinterest, you must be under a rock. But in case we've got a little tutorial on earlier this week on Live. Of course, we are on Roku as well, so be sure to go to that channel store and subscribe to our app. Lots of good things going on there. And you know, Andy, the Roku iPhone app was updated. So if you go to the Roku blog, you can check out more about that. We just want to get you guys involved with Roku as much as possible. And we want to say a big thanks to one of our sponsors, which is PetHub. And if you've been joining us the last couple of weeks, they've got a video contest going on. And instead of Andy and I sitting here and telling you about PetHub and how great it is, we are showing some of these entries. So, Andy, this is entry number 5.
Okay.
This was Ben before PetHub.com. This was Ben after PetHub.com. Okay. What's this? That's Martin's PetHub ID tag. Once a unique QR code is scanned, his PetHub profile is viewed and the owner is notified. When Ben lost his dog, he was able to update Martin's info on his PetHub.com profile to include contact info, medical information, and other details. So once the tag was scanned, Ben and Martin were able to live happily ever after, thanks to PetHub. Protect, share, nurture.
And of course, thanks to PetHub for finding Ben's dog that otherwise would have had a new home. So be sure to check out PetHub, PetHub.com PetHub.com. Put in the code RVNN20. You'll receive 20% off their already low price. Andy, time for news headlines.
Time for news headlines. Of course, news headlines come courtesy of RVbusiness.com, which is the premier source for the business news for manufacturers and dealers and aftermarket people and so forth. But time to time, there are things of consumer interest, and that's what we try and pull up here as well. One of them, if one of your favorite shows is Celebrity Apprentice, and you've heard of Good Sam, they're actually going to be connecting here April 29th at NBC. Several Fortune 500 companies are featured as what's called a task sponsor on this popular NBC reality series. The episode on the 29th will highlight some of the benefits and services from Good Sam. Most particularly what the good that they do to the community at large. The contestant that's chosen as the contestant who's chosen as the Celebrity Apprentice receives a $250,000 bonus check that they then donate to his or her favorite charity. Mike Thompson, a large dealer network, the Mike Thompson Superstore on the West Coast, has been offering support to the U.S. military, particularly those who are currently deployed, where their families are at home, or wounded personnel. Mike Thompson is a multi-location California-based dealership, and they are offering the opportunity to draw support for those who are protecting the U.S., and they're proud not only to be involved, but to help build awareness. Two of them. One is there's a charity that they support called Operation Gratitude, a nonprofit organization that sends care packages. And what happened was that used cell phones that have been collected at various Mike Thompson locations were donated to this organization and used to fund over 100,000 care packages that went out during 2011 to brave men and women deployed overseas, and also to their children waiting at home. Mike Thompson they also sponsor the Mike Thompson RV Golf Tournament, and they will be donating the earnings from that to a fundraiser for the Wounded EOD Warrior Foundation as well. And then finally, some really kind of business-related news. Airstream, the Airstream Interstate, has topped the Class V van sales for 2011. You usually think of Airstream as having towable product, but they actually have been named as the #1 selling Class B motorhome model for 2011. They have grown their market share by 68% the past year. against a 15% industry decline for that particular type of RV. Built on the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter chassis, according to Airstream, fuses the legendary quality and design of Airstream with the comfort, control, and luxury of a Mercedes-Benz. Good deal.
Absolutely. You know, we had the privilege of going in some of those at the Elkhart RV Open House right here.
Yes.
So that was they're great. I think for the soccer family, soccer moms, that's a great for a lot of people.
That would
it's
be
great,
going
but
first class.
Yeah, first class
absolutely.
soccer mom.
So, hey, what first class Twitter or social media things have you found?
That's a great question because I found lots. And as you know, we are on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and Pinterest. We are all over the place. If you can't find us, you're under a rock. That's going to be my thing for today.
Hey, you had that Z-snap down
Oh
just
yeah, I have to put myself on. You are
rock.
under a rock. So please be sure to friend us, circle us, follow us, pin us, whatever it may be. You know, we've been talking about the new Away ads from Go RVing,
Yes.
and they've been putting out some new commercials that actually started a couple nights ago. Airing on various channels, but if you want to look on them, look for them on YouTube. If you search, you're not going to find them because they're unlisted. So you can only see these if you have the link, and we have the link, so we've been putting it out there on our social media sites, but we've also got it right here for you. So let's go ahead and play this new commercial.
Away is the crackle of the campfire. It can be 1,000,000 years old, or a few weeks young. Away beckons from Orion's belt. Away is a place that's closer than you think. Find your Away. For a dealer in the RV that's right for you, visit GoRVing.com.
All right, and that one is the ad called Closer.
Yeah, but you know, the theme that came through was that you could almost say it was action away. And it just talked about not only the family members, but how they're interacting with each other, and it's not a passive thing, not a passive experience at all.
Yeah, you know, I'm surprised I didn't see Brad on that. Maybe he snuck in that commercial somewhere.
He may be snuck into that commercial.
Yeah.
But anyway, please go and take a look at the show notes, and you'll be able to take a look at that again. This new series of commercials are really great because they really tell a story, and you have to kind of watch them a couple of times, and you see layers, you see things in it that you don't see when you first glimpse it. So check that out.
I'm guilty of watching those multiple times. They're very, very nice. All right. This next one is that I have that on Twitter, on Facebook, and, of course, in the show notes. But this is something I retweeted from our friends over at Lonely Planet. Love these guys. Lots of good information most of the time, all the time. And they have got a great little article out, and it's called How to Eat Like a Local. I know we talk a lot about food, but we also talk about how food is kind of the center of family, friends, gatherings, and all of that great stuff. So they said how to eat like a local. And when you're traveling along, and I'm sure Brad can attest to this, is that you want to really be in it, all the way in it. You want to really experience that city, that town, wherever you're going, to the fullest experience. So this article, they talk about steps to how to eat like a local, no matter where you're at. So they say research, hit the streets, shop with the locals, ask a local, time your visit, broaden your travel horizons, open your eyes and follow your nose, and trust the experts. So you can obviously read that a little slower and go into detail. This will be in our show notes, but this was retweeted out from Lonely Planet, and I just think it's a pretty cool article. You don't want to miss that. You know, the most obvious would be go to New York City and missing the best pizza place to fold it in half and eat it. And you don't want to miss those things, so that they've got some great advice there.
And it also links to another great site that's one of our favorites called Road Food. Roadfood.com.
Love Road Food.
And they feature all the things that you can find in different areas of the country and what the specialties are in that particular area.
Absolutely. Well, Andy, this next one is geocache related. So I'm kind of hopping around here, and I'm random as always, but they all relate back to one thing, and it's great things to do while you're RVing. Of course, geocaching is one of them, and this is an article I actually found. Is a Google Plus poll. So if you go on our Google Plus, you'll see this. But what it is it's let me pull it up here. It's from Garmin.
Scramble.
Yeah. Garmin is putting on a cash dash, and it's in Kansas City, it looks like. Yep. A high-tech scavenger hunt where charities are biggest winners. So pretty cool. Interesting. And we're kind of asking the questions, what do you think? Would you do this? And we know our geocachers will travel to, there is no town far away. It's not far away enough for them. They'll do it. Is this something you'd be involved with? It's a great... obviously, you're benefiting charities and things like that.
No journey too far.
No journey too far. Thank you for helping me.
And
So it starts March 24th. They've got a schedule of events here. So you've got about a little less than a month to, actually exactly a month. Is today the 24th? I think it is. To kind of schedule this out and see if this is something you could do. And they've got the charities down here. They've got Kids TLC, Project Uplift, Sleepyhead Beds, YMCA of Greater Kansas City. So if you're in Kansas City, this is super convenient. If you're near or around Kansas City, it's convenient. And if you're far away, this is something you can plan for. So again, this is in our show notes and also on our Google Plus page. And this is the KC Cash Dash, a high-tech scavenger hunt where charities are the biggest winners. Yeah. So pretty cool.
I've finally got my laptop, my computer here to see what you've been looking at.
Oh yeah.
And,
what do you think?
And so it looks like there are donation opportunities that are attached with this. Is this by the number of people who find this particular cache? Is that how that works?
I would think so.
Yeah.
I would think that would be it. So it's a cool event, and of course, Garmin's a great company, and I think they're going to be doing some really great things. So it's a little different. Not something, and if you're a geocacher and you say, Courtney, no, that's not all that different, they'll let me know. But I think it's a little different, and we'd love to hear your feedback on it. So next up is Pinterest. Now, Andy, I love this, and I can't talk about it enough, but I will zip it and try to keep it concise. Of course, if you go to pinterest.com/RVNN, you'll find our pin boards. We've got pin boards for every show. Now, this goes, I will just have a little, sometimes I research stuff all day and I find interesting articles, and we so appreciate your retweets, your repins, your sharing, your mentions. We appreciate all of that. You guys are fantastic. And sometimes I put something out and I'm like, man, this is gonna go viral. This is gonna be awesome, and it doesn't happen.
This didn't go viral. This one over here.
One did, one didn't, and I thought this one would. It has gotten some action, but not the traction that I thought, because it's a recipe. And if you know Pinterest, recipes go like crazy. And this is actually a recipe that I pinned yesterday. So go ahead and repin it to make me feel good, because repinning, that is better than a really good dinner. Like, it's just, I would skip a meal to have it repin.
So what kind of recipe is
this? Speaking of meal, this is how to make a grilled pizza. Grilled pizza. Have you ever done that before?
No. I've done it on the stone, but not over, but in an oven, not over a charcoal fire. Over a charcoal
fire, and a lot of those RVs have the grills on the side, and people bring their grills and great things. So this I thought would be a pretty cool, fun recipe, and I thought it would get repinned a lot. But you know what did, Andy, and this does make sense why this got repinned multiple times, and kind of.
Is this the one I've got up over here?
No, not that one. Not that one. It's this one, Andy. It is. Oh, I guess that person is not going to. Well, are they going to?
I guess that's going to go to voicemail.
Live. Sorry if you're the one calling. They're saying, "Hey, stop talking about this." All right, so this is the one that got a little viral on me, and this is of course pinned to our Tales from the Road pin board, and it is called Teenage Mutant Ninja Doggy. This was very popular yesterday, and I'm sure it will continue to be popular because it's pretty stinking cute. It's no pizza on a grill, but it is a doggy in a Ninja Turtle suit. So Tales from the Road, of course, is our show with Dr. Jill Wendy, where we talk about taking your pet on the road, and maybe if they're from the Midwest, you take them out to the actual West. They won't be so familiar with some of those plants and animals and things that they encounter. We'll be taping some new episodes. Man, they really want to get a hold of us.
I guess so.
They want to. Jill will be joining us next week for some new episodes, brand new episodes of Tales from the Road. So there's a little plug, and shameless
but
at that.
What about this one? Did you pin this?
I did.
One, right?
Where did I put that at? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You'll see what I'm talking about.
It is there. Yeah.
In just a moment.
And Andy, I said to this one, I said it's a bird, it's a plane, it's an RV.
Or it's Photoshop.
Or it's Photoshop,
I'm not
yeah.
sure which.
Doesn't matter. It's entertaining.
We're talking about getting air. I mean, that's just, it's going to be ugly in just a few seconds.
In just a few short seconds. Absolutely. And I actually almost skipped one of my personal favorite stories. The show that I really, really, really love, you don't have to love it. I am in love with the show. It's called Parenthood. It's a little show on NBC. And, you know, everyone wants to be a Braverman. Andy, if you watch this show, you'll know what I'm talking about. Bravermans are the family that is featured on the show. Just a lot of family values. They do everything together. If one person goes one place, the entire clan goes with them. And one thing that they love to do is be outside. And this is the family, huge family here, right? So Zeek, who is the head, he's the dad, the grandpa dad. He goes out, and this is a really low-res picture, so I apologize, but it's the best I could find. I won't leave it up too long. Even worse on the big screen. I will take that down. Anyways, moral of the story, he buys an RV, and it's a great episode. I've got that linked up on our Facebook and Twitter and all those places, but just watch the episode because I think it really portrays the RV lifestyle, and he's kind of, he's older, and he says, let's go do what we always wanted to do. And he gets this Airstream. He actually buys an Airstream, I believe, from the year that they wanted to accomplish all these things. So really great. And this week I know that they talked about camping. So it's just a really great show that features the outdoors lifestyle a lot, and they happen to feature an RV. So I had to pull that up and talk about it. So I've got the episode up, and you can watch it. And NBC takes them down after a while, so be sure to hop on that.
Okay.
So anyways, that's about it in the social media side. So be sure to email me, cw@rvnn.tv, if you have any questions, comments, or just want to say hello. And now, I feel like I'm running a marathon today. I've got our travel app of the day, and this is called Wenzani. You ready for this one?
Okay.
I've got a video.
Phone. I've got my phone right here.
Yes.
And the question is, do I need to go to the App Store?
Well, we'll see. I'll play the video, and we'll see.
So I had some friends visiting from out of town, and I wanted to make sure they had a great time. I pulled out Wenzani to browse some nearby restaurants. I knew these would be awesome because they were all recommended by sources I trust. Here's one from Lonely Planet that looks really good. My friend Jenny also loves it, and she's a foodie. Sushi. Wow, dinner was really great. But now the real challenge, finding the perfect evening activity. Better ask some friends. Within a few minutes, 3 of my friends had answered my question. And according to Time Out, there's a fun band playing here tonight. With great recommendations from experts and friends, I always know what to do next.
All right. Andy, are you downloading it?
So it's like the best of both worlds, it sounds like, that you've got recommendations by your friends, but it's also kind of merged with, is that right?
Merged with professional opinions as well. So it's real-time information and advice right there on your phone. And right now it's only available for iOS devices. It is in beta, but in a month or two or less, they will have it available for Droids as well. So be on the lookout for that. I thought it was pretty cool. And the fact that it's still in beta, I want to test it out and see how it goes. But, eating like locals, all those things right there. There's a lot of apps that do certain things like this, and this is just a slight slant on some that we've covered. But if you want to find out more about Wenzani, you can look for our show called Travel App of the Day, where we will go into more depth about
and
each
I think
app.
the real difference here is that they are concentrating on food and nightlife.
Yeah.
As opposed to some of the other apps, which are maybe a little more general as far as recommendation. So you can get, what's highly rated by experts and gourmets and so forth, but then you can also bounce that off your friends and see, have they heard of this particular place or what their recommendations might be. Sounds cool.
I hope it is cool. So check that out. And in addition to live from Wednesday, we're going to publish this week RV Capital Talk with the guys from Route 66 Network, and we also posted
That'll be up this afternoon.
It'll be up this
I was
afternoon.
working
All right.
on that here just
Awesome.
earlier here today.
So, and of course, we did just post our Fat Tuesday edition of Geocaching World. So a fun one, and we actually did talk about geocaching, not just punch keys.
Yes, yes. Actually, that particular episode was talking about varying your geocaching diet. Don't always go to the woods. Don't always go what happens when you go to a desert? What do you have to do differently there as what you would do in a swamp? And there are some differences.
There are differences, so be aware and watch that episode. Let's see here. What we're taping, of course, it is Friday, but on Monday, we've got a great episode coming up. We've got Jamie Bruzenak. Oh, I'm going to mess these up. Jamie and Alice. I'll just keep it at that. But they are from RVLifestyleExperts.com. And I will have them pronounce their last names correctly because I'm clearly not good at it. But two ladies that have been featured on ABC.
Bruzenak and Zeitz is the way I would guess.
You probably have a better guess than I do. But they'll be with us on Monday the 27th on RVNN-Live. Tuesday, we've got Geocaching World, where we're going to be talking about extreme cache placements. And then on Wednesday, we've got RVNN-Live with Sylvia Tarnuzzer. We've got a whole week of difficult last
RV
names.
Healthy.
RV Healthy, yes.
Okay.
So RVHealthy.com. I'll hop over there and check out, get a little preview of what we're going to be talking about. But right now, we've got some instant cool stuff.
Instant cool stuff.
Geocache radar.
Oh, we'll talk about that in just a moment. To remind you about GoToMeeting,
yes.
which are internet-based or online meetings that are made easy for you to set up, easy to attend, and extremely economical because you have one low fee per month, and you can meet as many times as you want for as long as you need to meet. And it works great across the town, it works great across the country, it works great around the world. GoToMeeting. You can save a lot. A lot would be free. That would be a lot.
A lot would be free, yeah. That was a good way to...
free. Just go to GoToMeeting.com / podcast may work, but I know if you click on the try it free button and then put in the code podcast, PODCAST, you can have a free 30-day trial of GoToMeeting.
Check it out. And then now we've got something else for them to check out. Is that a better segue?
That's perfectly acceptable.
Can you give us a little preview of what we'll be seeing?
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. We talk about geocaching a great deal, and the reason is it's such a great family activity and combines so well with the world of RVing because RVers are out in new areas, exploring the world around them, and this is a treasure hunt that you can use a vehicle GPS, you can use a handheld GPS, or many of the smartphones have a GPS receiver built right into them, and that can help you locate buried or hidden treasures of all sorts. In fact, there's over 1.5 million of these caches that exist around the world. It's a great family activity because you can look at different difficulties and terrain, and you can pick something that's appropriate for young kids. You can pick something that's appropriate for teenagers. They're handicapped accessible sites. There's a whole range of adventures that you can enjoy with your family. So let's take a look at this particular episode here.
Hey, it's Geocache Radar GCRD 108-5. Today's cache is near Chattanooga, Tennessee. While in the area, you could go to Ruby Falls, a massive underground waterfall that's been a tourist attraction for the past 75 years. Or you could take a ride on the Southern Belle Riverboat along the scenic Tennessee River while enjoying dinner cruise, daily lunch, or daytime sightseeing. Or you could go to the International Towing and Recovery Museum. Monster tow trucks from all over the world, all within easy driving distance of today's cache. Today's cache is called Coconut Smile, GCM H7D, difficulty of 2 and terrain of 1. This cache is located at the Bluff Furnace Historic Site, the first coke-fired blast furnace in the southern Appalachian iron-producing region. It's challenging, but it is handicap accessible. During the Civil War, the blast machinery was dismantled and moved to Shelby, Alabama by Confederate forces, and archaeologists just found the site again in 1978. Approximate coordinates: north 35 degrees 3 minutes, west 85 degrees 18 minutes. For full details, go to geocaching.com, the official global GPS geocache hunt site. For show notes on this cache, go to rvnewsnet.com/geocache radar. Information is believed to be valid at the time of production, but conditions may change. Use common sense and caution and do not trespass. Keep geocaching a fun and family RV activity. Geocache Radar is a production of RV Newsnet and RVNN TV and is a member of the Tech Podcasts Network. If it's tech, it's here.
And a lot of people are Civil War buffs that really enjoy actually going through the various campaigns, battlefields, and so forth. And geocaching is a great way to make that a family activity if other members of the family aren't quite as into the historical reenactment and so forth as other members. So it's a good way to take your RVing vacation and make it enjoyable by all in attendance, everybody that goes along for the trip.
My family is really into the history of everything, so they would enjoy all of that. So I think that wraps it up for today, Andy. And, of course, everyone have a great weekend. We'll be back on live next Monday, which is the 27th. Can you believe?
Hey, it's time's moving right along. And so hope you have a great weekend. Thanks for joining us here on RVNN-Live.
Today's show is brought to you by Angie's List, where you'll find thousands of unbiased reports and reviews about service companies in your area. Whether you're looking for a roofer, plumber, house cleaner, dentist, or even a doctor, Angie's List members share their experiences with each other so that you can choose the service company that's right for your job. Companies can't pay to be on Angie's List, and the reviews come from people just like you who have had experience with the companies mentioned. To find out more, go to rvnn.tv and click on the Angie's List ad.